Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tiffany, and in today's video we're going to be working on preparing for back to school. In today's video we're going to be organizing my supply cabinet as well as the kids supply drawer, and we're going to be getting their back to school supplies ready. So if you've got kiddos that are going back to school, or if you're like me and just love to watch organizing, especially when it has to do with office supplies, this is the video for you. Now, everyone has their way of doing back to school shopping, and my family is no different. So if you are new to my channel, I have 5 amazing kiddos. My oldest is going into 10th grade and my only girl. And then I have 4 boys going into 8th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade, and 1st grade. I had to think about that. My husband and I are also educators. I am an elementary school counselor, and my husband is a middle school special ed teacher. He works at a therapeutic day school, so his job is pretty tough. And we just love, our summers, but as they start to come to an end, when we start to see the school supplies coming out, we do get a little bit excited too to go back and see our students. So the way that we do our back to school shopping is we make a list. I take everybody's list and I compile them into one. I use Google Sheets, which I'll show you here in a minute. And if you're following me over on Instagram, I'll talk more about this in my stories today so you get a better idea of what I'm talking about. But once I have a list that's combined of everybody's supplies, I take that list over to Walmart. Sometimes I do a little bit of shopping over at Target, but 99% of the items I purchased come from Walmart. I just find that they have the best prices for the same exact products. So here's a look at the supplies that I have, and these are listed out for my 4 boys. Now, my daughter, being in high school, she doesn't get her supply list until she's at school. She also goes to a tech school. She's in a nursing program, so her supply list is a little bit different, like scrubs and stethoscopes. So we will do her shopping once she's back at school. But as for the boys, this is what we've got. Next up is this crazy cabinet that I have over in my coffee bar area. As you can see here, it's just been a collect-all of Rogue papers and pretty much anything else craft or school related. This is where my youngest son, Ryan, will keep all of his drawings. He loves to draw, he loves to color, and he's one of those kiddos where you literally can't recycle anything. If he's around, you have to wait until he goes to bed, and then you have to bury it in the recycle bin. That was one of my middle son, Ronan, one of his tests from the school year. He got 100%. These are the things your kids just don't want to get rid of. And I do have one of those cool, filing cabinets where you keep some good keepsakes, but I can't keep everything, you guys. It's just not feasible. So I know there's lots of fun ways of taking pictures and making a book that way and all that good stuff. But we're going to get all of these things out of here, and then we're going to figure out what it is we're keeping and what it is we're getting rid of. So there's sticker book stuff in here, there's regular books in here, coloring books, tracing books, all kinds of stuff in here. But I wanted this to be functional before we go back to school. This is also where loose leaf paper will be kept and things that they'll need for when they're working on projects at home. So, like I said, I needed it to be organized before we started the school year, and it needed to be done. I had just been putting it off for so long. So I'm just going to remove everything from this space here. It's pretty small, but it was really deep, and shockingly, there was a ton of stuff in here. And I hadn't done this since we moved into the house. I didn't even really organize this space. I just kind of tossed stuff in here. These that I'm working with right here in my hand are the schedules that we used when we were doing not homeschooling, but remote learning. The little tasks were on Velcro, so I would move them around every day. My kids all had one, and they'd have to check off what they did, and that's because they did remote learning with my mother-in-law while I was at school. So it was just crazy. That was while we were doing hybrid learning. Isn't that nuts to remember, to think back to that, what that was actually like we actually did that and lived like that for a little while. Glad that's over. Well, at least that part of it anyway. So now I'm just kind of going through the books, the comic books, the coloring books, all of that other stuff, deciding what it is that we're going to keep. And then I'm going to clean out this entire area, and then we're going to get to organizing. By the time we're done with this, it'll look, the way it's supposed to. Just using my vacuum real quick to vacuum out all of these wood chips, I think. I don't remember vacuuming out the cabinet before I put everything in it. So there was a little bit of wood chips from when they screwed these into the wall, the cabinets into the wall. So I'm just getting that cleaned out real quick, and then we're going to get the items put back in nicely. So really quickly, I'm showing you, this is what I kept out of all of those things you saw me pull out of there. So much stuff I pulled out, and this is what we're keeping. So it's not really a ton. It's just the important stuff like sight words and coloring books. And we're going to start by using this stacking shelf. I purchased this at Walmart. I want to say maybe for around $7. I'll try to link it for you down below. But it's just a little clear plastic stacking shelf. You can, stack two on top of each other, but I just needed one because the cabinets that we chose for over here didn't have any kind of shelf. Now, we purchased these cabinets from cabinets.com. These are the exact same cabinets as our kitchen. However, to keep them a little bit more cost affordable, we went with no shelf. And I deeply regret that. I wish that we had done some kind of pull-out shelf like we have in our pantry, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. We're using these $5 storage bins that I found at Target in the dollar section. They feel almost identical to the Home Edit ones you find at Walmart, but they were much, much cheaper and they were readily available. So I grabbed two of those to slide right under the little shelf right there. And in the first one, this is where I'm going to keep all of our flashcards. We have sight word flashcards and, I think they're all reading flashcards. So we're just putting all of those there in that drawer so they're easy to find. And then in the other one, I think I just got started with some games. But I do end up moving those things around. So I've got a checkers game there, and then I think I also put in a bag of our, those are colored pencils that we use like on the go, kind of like grab and go outside, grab and go in the car. But I decided to put them into that pencil box, which those, by the way, I have so many of them, but they're 97 cents at Walmart, so really good to have on hand. Then we have this tracing clipboard. I'm not really sure what you would call this, but it lights up. Ryan got it for Christmas last year, and he loves it. You can print any picture, stick it on there, and then it lights up and you can trace it. We also have a lot of paint by sticker books. You can get these on Amazon. I have also found them at the Dollar Tree, not those really big nice ones, but I have found some at the Dollar Tree. Those are really great activities for your kiddos if they just need something to do that's calm and quiet. Those paint by sticker activities can go anywhere. They're good for restaurants, good for rainy days. They're just really good to have on hand. They're good for adults too. I use them too. And then we just have regular coloring books and just some workbooks. So putting those all into just like a paper collector. I don't even know what kind of organizer you would call that. And then there's an easel with a whiteboard, which, random, but it's the kind of things you have when you're both an educator and you got a bunch of kids. We also have a chalkboard easel, which on the other side is a whiteboard. And then I also was just grabbing whatever was on top up there and finding a home for it. So here's another coloring book that is, more for adults. Found that at the Dollar Tree, by the way. It's got really sweet, inspirational quotes inside. That's the one Michaela loves to use. So I also found this paper holder at the Dollar Tree, and so I'm just putting that on top of that shelf. Now, obviously, the paper holder is a little bit wider than the shelf, but it works perfectly fine. And I'm adding in some just really cheap printer paper that Ryan uses to draw and color on. And then in this container here, I decided to kind of rearrange things because I wanted to add in some books. So I'm moving the game here, the chess game, into the back where the books are. Where the sight words are. And then I'm adding in the kids' joke books down here, when they need to read but they don't want to. Joke books are always the way to go because it's easy for them to read them out loud. So if you're cooking dinner and you need your kids to get some reading in, grab a joke book and have them read them to you while you're cooking or doing some chores around the house. So here's how that crazy cabinet turned out. It's crazy to think of what it looked like when we first got started. This is definitely much more functional, and it's going to be a lot better when we go back to school. Way less headache. Next up, we're going to work on our supply drawer. So I do have a video of me organizing this the first time in my coffee bar organize and decorate video. I'll have it linked for you down below. But in this video, we're going to actually clean it out. So this gets used every single day. My kids love to do arts and crafts. They're in here all the time. My mom is actually visiting from Colorado right now, and they've been doing tons of craft activities. Yesterday they made really cool journals with felt covers. So they're just, we're always in this drawer. My kids are very, very, very artistic and creative. So it's gotten a little messy since I, organized this back in January. So we're going to get it reorganized. I'm just kind of moving things around and finding things that I know they're going to need for homework and for studying, and making sure we have those, like those dry erase markers that I'm doing right there. We've got some fine tip markers we're going to bring in. I'm also removing old, kind of dried up items, and I'm going to replace them with new fresh items for the school year. And what happens is when we do have older items that aren't all the way done yet, and they still have some life in them, they go into our travel pencil case. So that travel pencil case you saw with all those coloring pencils, I'll put some markers in there, and that way, they can take that with them outside. They love to take a blanket outside to the front yard. But I'm not getting rid of them. They're just coming out of here because this is what we're going to use, for back to school, for homework and projects. So we're going to kind of just move things around. Now, the containers that I have in this drawer are from a couple of different places. So the clear containers are from Amazon, and then the white container in the back where the hot glue gun is, that one is from Target. Trying to think if there's anywhere else. I think that's the only two places where I purchased these, but I'll try to link them. I do believe the thinner containers are, or the clear ones, are actually already linked in my Amazon storefront. But if you can't find them, just let me know and I'll find them for you. So just going to go ahead and kind of rearrange things, move things around as much as I can, try to get everything to fit the best way. And I love the way this drawer turned out. There is nothing more satisfying than opening up this drawer and seeing all of the color so neatly organized. It just turns out really beautiful. So I'm excited for you to see how it turns out. And here is the final look at the supply drawer. I love how this turned out. There is nothing more satisfying than a bunch of back to school supplies all neatly organized in a drawer. We're ready. We're ready for your school year. Let's bring it on. Okay, now that we have those two areas organized, we're going to start organizing the kids' back to school supplies, the things they need to bring to school. So I have these brown bags. They're actually gift bags that I purchased on Amazon. I think I purchased them in like a package of 50, maybe 25. I think it's 50. And I have them in my guest room closet. I keep them on hand for anytime I need to wrap up a gift. It's nice to just have them, or if somebody's taken something to go, having these bags on hand is really, really helpful. I'll try to link them for you in the Amazon shop, but here's a really quick glance at my list. So once I wrote the kiddos' names on their bags, I grabbed that list and I go one by one with my kiddos and fill their bag with the supplies that they need. And if I did it properly, at the end of it all, I shouldn't have any supplies left on the table. Doesn't always work that way, but I do believe in today's video I did get it right. There were a couple of things I still needed to get, like headphones, which I already grabbed. I actually picked those up at Five Below. So if your kiddos need headphones, Five Below, I think I got them for $5.50, and they have cool ones like Black Panther, and I think they also had like SpongeBob. I think I saw some Yoda ones. That was pretty cool. So I was able to snag those. But I just go kid by kiddo. I grab the supplies they need, and then I highlight their list as I go, as my way of checking it off, knowing that I got it. And if there's anything unhighlighted at the end of the list, then I know there's still things I need to get. I do believe there were still a couple of things I wasn't able to grab yet. Maybe some things I wanted them to be able to pick out themselves, but for the most part, I was able to get probably 95% of their supply list done. And like I showed you earlier, I just fan it out here on the table, and then I go child by child, picking out what it is that they need from their supply list. I get them all into that brown bag, and then I go on to the next kiddo. This is what works for me. You may have a different system that works for you, but with so many kiddos, this is, what I have found to be the most efficient. So here's Ronan's bag full of supplies that he needs. And now we'll go on to the next kiddo. So we're going to get the rest of my boys finished up. And hopefully by the end of this, the entire supply list will be highlighted and all the supplies will be in bags. One thing I want to talk about really quickly when it comes to back to school supplies is the fact that these supply lists are always optional. When a school is working on their budget, they do have supplies put into their school budget. It's obviously not going to be a ton, but they do have to be able to supply enough supplies for each kiddo. So that means pencils and scissors and highlighters and things like that. If you are not in a position to purchase extra for your child's class, do not don't feel bad about that for 1 second. I understand how hard it can be able to afford back to school supplies for kiddos sometimes. It can be really, really tight. But I want you to know that if you're not able to purchase all of these items, it doesn't mean your kiddo goes to school and doesn't have what they need. Schools are prepared with back to school supplies, and these are all optional, especially things like tissue paper and, Clorox wipes and all of those things. If you're not in a position to afford those for, your child's class, please, please, please don't ever feel bad. Those are not required, and the school will always supply your kiddo with what they need. So here's a look at my list, mostly filled out, and here are their bags ready to go. You'll notice that in these bags, I don't have things like wipes and Kleenex. I usually bring those to meet the teacher night, drop those off to the teachers. That's my son Aiden's bag. He's got a lot. He's in 8th grade. But the bags are done, and those were actually going into my front closet, where we also have all of the boxes with their new shoes. Everybody got a new pair of shoes. We go to Famous Footwear. They always have the buy one, get one half off right before school starts, and you earn points there too. So that's how we shop for shoes for my big family. We usually go buy new shoes twice a year right before school starts, and then again come the winter. And when you buy for a big family like mine, you accrue those points really quickly, and we end up with a good discount every single time we go. So watch for those sales. Next up, what I'm working on here is I am getting our calendar ready for the new school year. So I've got this whiteboard calendar here. I think I picked this up at Hobby Lobby maybe 2 years ago. Used to have it in the guest room, but it really never got used there. So I'm going to put it in our pantry, and having one that I can write on like this is ideal. Not with this fat expo marker. I just didn't have any of the skinny expo markers, so I got to get some new ones. I'm going to look for some colored ones so I can write things in a color code for who has soccer wear, who has dance wear, what's going on. But for now, I'm just filling in some of the last things we have in August. We've got a lot of things going on. My mom was visiting for 2 weeks. Then we have our last camping trip of the summer. And then I am back to work on the 23rd. I can't believe it. And we're all back in school by the 31st. So here's a look at our crazy busy August. We're going to get this put up in the wall in the pantry, and we're going to be ready to go. I'm feeling super prepared, and yet it's so bittersweet as the summer comes to an end and the school year begins. Like I said, as an educator, I'm excited to get back to school to see my students, but it's bittersweet. I sure do love this time with my family during the summer. It's time to get the calendar hung up, and that brings us to the end of today's video. That is it. I hope you guys found some inspiration if you need to get your kiddos ready for back to school yourself, or if you're just looking to get something organized today. I appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with me. I would love to have you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, my friends. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.